Thank you, Mark. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm pleased on behalf of Dentons to formally introduce our special afternoon triple session deep dive into transportation. Investing in transportation infrastructure is a global priority, serving to stimulate economic development, enhance productivity, and boost competitiveness. This sector is one of the largest generators of P3 projects worldwide, from LRTs and subways to bridges and highways, and the business shows no signs of slowing down. In Canada alone, we currently have 24 transportation P3 projects in procurement and 11 more under construction. Dentons is the world's largest law firm with over 10,000 lawyers in 178 locations in 76 countries. With our established practices in infrastructure, P3, and construction, Dentons offers clients advice on best practices from around the world. Our Canadian infrastructure and P3 team routinely advises private sector sponsors, public authorities, lenders, design build contractors, equipment manufacturers, and operations and maintenance providers on large-scale infrastructure projects in every industry sector in Canada and elsewhere. As Mark mentioned, Dentons has been instrumental in launching and supporting the Day 2 afternoon sessions at the C2P3 National Conference as a forum for significant developments in the Canadian P3 world. 2 years ago, the sessions focused on the new RER and REM programs and on the potential for high-speed rail and high-frequency rail. Last year, the sessions focused on the arrival of Canada Infrastructure Bank, and this year, the focus is on major transportation projects. Helping us set the scene for today's afternoon special session is Alberta Transportation Minister and Deputy House Leader Ric McIver. He was elected to his third term as an MLA for Calgary-Hayes last spring. Previously, he served as Alberta's Minister of Infrastructure, Transportation, and of Job Skills, Training, and Labour. He also has been a member of the Treasury Board and the Government's Committee on Operations. Last month, the Alberta government, under Premier Jason Kenney, tabled its first budget, which announced a number of cost-cutting measures aimed at growing jobs and boosting the province's economic fortunes. The government noted that funding infrastructure is a key component to ensure its future success, but that has to be balanced with fiscal realities. In Minister McIver's portfolio, the budget allocated $2.9 billion for roads and bridges, while maintaining $3 billion for the Edmonton and Calgary LRT projects with adjusted cash flows. We're looking forward to hearing Minister McIver's perspective on Alberta's transportation and challenges and opportunities. Please join me in welcoming Minister McIver to the podium.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate that. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here. I'm happy to be at the 27th Annual Council for Public-Private Partnerships Conference and to kick off this afternoon's transportation sessions. This conference is important. It has a long history of bringing together leaders and building major infrastructure, and it's a great opportunity to learn from each other and hear insights and perspectives about P3s from a broad range of jurisdictions and experiences. Alberta is well represented at this conference. I'm very happy to be here with my colleague, the Honourable Prasad Panda, Minister of Infrastructure for Alberta, as well as representatives from the cities of Edmonton and Calgary and other Alberta-based organizations, including members of the legal, construction, and finance community are all here, and we're glad to have every one of you here today. I'll be focusing my remarks today on balancing government's fiscal realities with our continued need for critical infrastructure such as schools, transit, roads, hospitals, as well as the need for government to unlock economic growth and opportunity through key infrastructure investments such as trade corridors, upgraded highways to access resources, and more efficiently enabling the movement of people and goods across Alberta and internationally. As Minister Panda mentioned in his remarks earlier in this conference, Alberta is open for business. We are serious about pursuing and investing in P3 opportunities. Last spring, Albertans gave our government a mandate to balance our budget, create jobs, build pipelines, and grow our economy. I'm going a little fast. They didn't give me a lot of time here, so to grow our economy. Premier Jason Kenney said on election night that our government will be obsessed with job creation, and we intend to deliver on that promise. In October, our government tabled the 2019 budget. It's a prudent and sensible budget that puts Alberta on a path to budget balance in 4 years while maintaining or increasing spending on the frontline services that Albertans depend most upon. It's the first step in fixing our finances and ending the unsustainable growth of debt in Alberta. It's not easy, but it means focusing on fiscal responsibilities and doing the things that are most important to Albertans. The simple reality is we can't afford to mortgage the future of our children and grandchildren by saddling them with billions of dollars of debt that they'll have to pay back through their entire working lives. However, more people keep moving to Alberta. So I'm an Ontario expat myself. Alberta is a province with the youngest population in Canada, which means more kids, which means more schools. We are a province blessed with abundant resources, which means trucks and workers and people move there. And that means more hospitals, more roads, more transit. All those things come with more population. We're landlocked as a province, but not as a country. And we produce a lot more than we can consume. So transportation means everything to us. We rely on a well-developed provincial and national network. We've got 2 cities with populations in the region over 1 million people. And of course, they're all crying, rightly so. That's not a criticism. They're doing their job when they cry for more infrastructure because that's what their citizens demand. So we have critical infrastructure projects needed to grow the economy and open markets and improve the quality of life of our citizens. But we need to balance that with the challenge of being fiscally responsible and taking care of the environment. Our energy industry, for example, is the most environmentally responsible in the entire world. We need to explore options for financing and delivering projects, including P3s, and we've had some good conversations over the last couple days here, and I know I have more follow-up conversations to come, and I am grateful for everybody that we made those arrangements with. We have some history using P3s. The Calgary and Edmonton ring roads are among the largest projects ever completed in Canada. Edmonton's ring road took 16 years to build, and it's 80 kilometers of free flow travel. It was constructed in 4 segments, 3 of which were completed as P3s. The Calgary ring road is a major urban highway around Calgary, and it is both an east-west and north-south link. It is divided into 6 segments, including 2 that are going under P3 projects right now, and 1 more to be launched very shortly. Had people asking me when the paperwork's going to come out on that, so I'm grateful for your enthusiasm. It will accommodate some 100,000 vehicles a day and be 101 kilometers of free-flowing traffic around Calgary. Both roads serve as an example of key infrastructure projects. They help create jobs and economic growth while letting people have good lives. Interestingly enough, the previous government signed the P3 contract on the southwest portion of Calgary's ring road and then went about disbanding the P3 shops within the government of Alberta. Almost immediately after taking office, I instructed my department to reestablish the P3 shop in Alberta Transportation and examine projects that could fit the P3 model. As our government looks to address the challenges ahead, P3 is something we will be considering. We continue to invest in our highway network to move goods and people throughout the province. No decision has been made on financing yet, but you'll want to keep your eye if you're interested in. We have planned to invest $209 million to upgrade Calgary's main north-south freeway, the Deerfoot Trail, in the upcoming 3-4 years, and a P3 project is a possibility. So we'll be looking forward to some conversations on that as we go forward. Additionally, we will be carefully evaluating Ontario's decision to enable unsolicited bids. It's great to be here. Somebody told me today that we have 2 unsolicited bids coming our way, and they were unsolicited, which is exactly as intended. The public largely does not focus on how we finance projects. The citizens want value and they want the infrastructure. But P3, as we know, is one way that we can get that done for our citizens. So, and I think you realize here, I've heard the discussion, we understand every project needs to stand on its own merit for taxpayer value when compared to a cradle-to-grave cost analysis against other methods of delivering, and P3 is no different. The size of the projects need to be considered carefully. We're open to outside investment, but we don't want to freeze out Alberta contractors by making the financial commitments on projects beyond their capacity. There is a sweet spot, and we need to aim for that while we deliver projects. We need to get the share of risk back to balance, after which the industry tells me we can get better pricing and more contractors are willing to bid if we correct some of those situations, some of our contracts. We need to write terms of business which allow us to settle disputes without lawsuits or major claims. There's a lot of lawyers in the room, and we love you all, but we would rather employ you by keeping us out of court, but rather than having us settle things in court. I didn't sign up for this so I could spend my life fighting in court with people that I do business with, and I'm sure you didn't do what you're doing to sign up to fight with us. We actually need to write the right contracts so we don't end up there, and that's something I think we can do a better job in the future. We need to have while our lawyers are doing that, we need to have them craft contracts designed to assign risk appropriately to the correct party and to make the contracts easier to work with. I've heard from contractors that we have sections in contracts that used to be 6 pages that are now 200 pages. I'm not sure that helps any of us to build a project, a road or a bridge or a school or anything. So not every project can be built with P3, but the business case can be made. Outside investment can be sought, and partnerships can be built through the P3 model to deliver infrastructure wanted and needed very much by our citizens. So I'll repeat the one message that is our favorite, is Alberta is open for business, and we're open to doing business with people in this room. We are obsessed with job creation. We want to work with anybody here interested in investing in Alberta to build critical infrastructure that we need, that will create jobs and open markets, and build Alberta's economy, and at the same time build Canada's economy. Folks, we need your best ideas. We need you to come forward. We need your cooperation. We invite you to come in and talk to us, teach us what you can, because we will do better if we do this together. We will continue to consider innovative financing models for major transportation projects in the future, including the Calgary and Edmonton LRT projects. There's $3 billion coming down the pike for there, and that's more. You'll have to talk to the cities more directly than us, but there's a couple opportunities that could be there, and I'll leave it to the city folks to decide how they're going to do that. But with a project that size, P3, in my view at least, is something that needs to be considered. And we will consider all other innovative ideas that you bring forward. We consider you our partners and our friends. Talk to us. We've got a lot more things to build in the future, and we would like to do it hand in hand with you. Thank you for being here today. Enjoy the rest of the conference, and I'm very grateful for this brief opportunity to address you. Thank you.